Meanwhile, more than 1,000 cartons of unauthorized chemicals that were smuggled into the country through the Keur Ayib side of the Gambia-Senegal border have been confiscated by the Gambian authorities. Following this huge seizure of the chemical products which could be inimical to public and environmental health, the National Environment Agency launched a public awareness campaign around the ramifications of chemical substances. With more details on the rollout this campaign, here is TV's Corr.
This proactive initiative aims to educate the masses about the dangers associated with the misuse and illegal importation of hazardous substances, which jeopardize both public health and the environment. Such activities are in breach of the requirements stipulated in the Hazardous Chemical and Pesticides Control Management Act. Unauthorized importation of chemicals not only undermines national regulatory frameworks, but also exposes society and the environment to potential hazards and risk. Registrar, Hazardous Chemicals and Pesticides Control, Mbye, NEA confiscated more than 1,000 cartons of the unauthorized chemicals at the Gambia-Senegal border through collaboration with the border security.
Now we have confiscated, with the help of customs and police, about 1,222 cartons of aerosol mosquito sprays into the country. They are imported without the necessary documentation. So it is important for us, particularly importers, to know that there are specific rules and regulations with regards to import of chemicals and pesticides into the country. The most important things that you need to take note of, particularly with the National Environment Agency, is to have the necessary licenses in place. With regards to import, we have sets of licenses that people need to take note of. One of them is the import license. And if you're doing wholesale or retail, you need to have a wholesale and retail license. If you're to store also for distributions, you need to have a distribution and a warehouse license.
The awareness-raising campaign underscores the importance of adhering to the Hazardous Chemical and Pesticides Control Management Act, which is designed to regulate the use of such chemicals and protect from harmful exposure to health risks such as poisoning and long-term impacts on agriculture and biodiversity. Director of Technical Services Network, Omar C., pointed out at the launch of the awareness argumentation outreach that the enforcement of laws requires commitment and effort from everyone.
As a regulatory body, we have a mandate, and by that, I will work together with the stakeholders in ensuring that the law is implemented accordingly. Enforcement of laws requires a lot of effort and commitment from staff and also from the general public. That's why we are calling all of you to put together all your effort in ensuring that chemical issues are addressed accordingly.
The unauthorized importation of hazardous chemicals and pesticides under Section 13 of the Act states that importers are required to seek clearance to import before any importation of chemicals into the country. Importers and dealers are also required to obtain the necessary registration and clearance of their chemical products and license as prescribed under Section 10, 11, and 12 of the Act. The Executive Director of National Environment Agency, Dr. Dauda Baji, thanked the Gambia Revenue Authority and other security personnel at the border for their continued support to National Environment Agency.
Let us be vigilant what comes in. And on that, I've really get this opportunity to thank GRA through their commissioner and all the border officers, particularly in, Keur Ayib in Farafenye. They have been very, very instrumental in trying to seize most of these things. They are products. Anything that enters there, they are very, and also the IGP, through IGP to some of the police officers at Keur Ayib also as well in Farafenye. You realize that they are doing a very tremendous job to help, to ensure that things don't go through that border without getting the necessary documentation.
The NEA's effort marked a crucial step towards reinforcing regulations governing hazardous substances and ensuring the Gambia's commitment to sustainable environmental practices. As the agency continues to monitor and regulate imports, it hopes that increased public awareness will lead to safer practices and a healthier future for all. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Mbye.